Good morning. I'm Tracy King and have been a member of Old South for close to 15 years. I currently serve as chair of Grace Speaks, the committee that fosters and promotes sacred conversations on matters of race within the life of the church.
Good morning. I'm Tim Longman, and I too have been a member of Old South Church for 15 years. I currently serve as chair of Christian Formation, the committee that supports Christian education for all ages in the church.
Church has always been an important part of our relationship and marriage. I was raised in the Black Baptist Church in the rural South, and Tim's father was a minister in the Disciples of Christ Church. Wherever we've lived, we have always sought out a church that was diverse and progressive. In New York, we were active in First Congregational Church in Poughkeepsie, which was a small, friendly church that was active in the community. We were always welcome and embraced by members. It is where I discovered the UCC and my love in a God that is still speaking, a God that is all loving and inclusive. When we moved to San Francisco, we struggled to find a church. Most of the progressive churches were very small with very old congregations. When we moved to the Boston area, it again took us a while to settle on Old South. We visited a few churches that were very engaged in social action, but where no one spoke to us or made us feel welcome. At one church, on about our 10th visit, the minister asked as we walked out, "Is this your first time here?" After we left, we said to ourselves, just how many interracial gay couples come to this church? We aren't that hard to remember. But when we came to Old South, we loved the worship service and the music. We were particularly impressed by the warm welcome we received. Bill Adams greeted us energetically at the front door, and when we left, we thought this was a church we could come back to. When we did come back the next week, Bill Adams remembered us and greeted us by name. As large a church as Old South is, we found it warm and welcoming, and quickly felt like it was a good church home. We were married in this church in 2009, a few years after marriage equality became the law of the land.
Among our circle of friends, almost none are interested in religion or understand why we go to church. But for us, there are a number of reasons that church is important. One of the most important is being part of a diverse community. Particularly now that we have children, we consider it very important to include them in a community that is diverse in terms of background, race, ability, and age. Our children have a chance to come together each week for study and worship with families like theirs, with same-sex parents, families with adopted children, and also with straight families with their own biological children who treat our family as unexceptional. We particularly appreciate a chance for our children to interact with older adults who provide a model of wisdom and patience. A few years back, we were riding the elevator up to Sunday school with Cliff when he was maybe 4 years old, and he turned to one of our church's senior members and said matter-of-factly, "You're old and you're going to die." It was the kind of moment that mortifies parents. But the target of that crass comment, who is thankfully still very much alive and contributing to our church community, responded with compassion, laughing and saying that it was true he was old and that someday he would die. Cliff was processing the death of his own grandfather, and a gentle older church member showed him kindness by reacting with grace. This community is important for grounding our family, giving us a sense that we are connected to other people and belong somewhere.
Another major reason that we give to the church is because it allows us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Our friends and family contribute to causes they care about with their time and money. As individuals, we also participate in causes that are important to us. Tim is active in human rights work in Africa, and I've become more involved in efforts to promote racial justice. But by giving money to a church that is committed to transforming the world, we are able to contribute to causes beyond our areas of individual action. Tim and I both care about the environment and homelessness. But as individuals, these are not areas where we have been activists. Yet by giving to Old South, we are able to contribute to efforts to mitigate the climate crisis and to fight homelessness. As members of Old South, we are not just individuals acting on our own, but part of a community of committed people working together to spread God's healing and grace throughout the world. As members of Old South Church, we are part of a denomination that called the United Church of Christ, that is busy working to change our country and the world. I have learned about the wider church as a board member of the Southern New England Conference of the UCC, and as a delegate to 2 general synods of the UCC, the gathering of our denomination that takes place every 2 years. Another reason that we give is that part of our contribution goes to support the ministries of the UCC. Through our affiliation with the UCC, Old South joins with more than 4,900 other local congregations to help promote ministries of justice and peace across the country and across the globe. The UCC spreads the word of God by promoting economic justice, racial equality, and interfaith dialogue.
In these challenging times, we recognize that many people are facing economic challenges and cannot give to the church as they have in the past. Because we both have steady employment, we have felt it our responsibility to increase our giving this past year, and we plan to increase our pledge for next year. Recognizing that many people cannot give as much as they would like this year, we encourage those who are able to push to increase their giving. Financial support is not the only way that people can give to the church. Both Tracy and I have accepted positions in church leadership because we think it is important to give of our time to support the mission of the church. Serving on church committees and on the church council, we've learned so much about the hard work that takes place behind the scenes to keep our church running. There are many committees that work for our church. If you want to give of your time, let church leaders know that you're willing to serve on a committee, or to teach Sunday school, or to help with coffee hour, or to help out as an usher when we're able to physically be back in church. And if you're asked to volunteer, we encourage you to say yes to an opportunity to deepen your relationship with the church.
We have given and will continue to give our time, our talent, and our resources to Old South Church because it is a church that continues to welcome all and accepts everyone wherever they are on life's journey. It is a place where our minds are nourished as much as our souls.
Peace be with you all, and Happy New Year.